Our Region's Business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you. Our Region's Business. Innovation, transformation, momentum. Improving our communities and driving technologies that will shape our region for generations. The collaboration that brings vitality, prosperity, and life to living. Stay with us for the coming half hour as we examine in depth our region's business. Now, here's your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today on Our Region's Business, King Coal. It's by far the oldest energy industry in our region with a history goes back about 250 years, but it's far from your grandfather's mining industry. As the latest in our continuing series on the 7 energy-related industries in which our region is a leader, our focus today is coal. And we'll start with an overview of the impact that the coal industry continues to have on our region from the perspective of a company that's been mining the Pittsburgh coal seam for more than a century. Let's see here. It's been mining the Pittsburgh coal seam for more than a century. DeIuliss is president of CONSOL Energy. Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, coal it would probably surprise a lot of people. It's been in our region for many, many years. Still a very strong component of the regional industry, especially the energy industry.
It's not gone away. Its future is probably the brightest it's been in generations. When you look forward the coming years and the coming decades, and really it creates an interesting dynamic on employment, interesting dynamic on balance of trade. A lot of the growth that we're seeing in the coal industry within this region is for international export opportunities as well as domestic opportunities. So a lot of different things pulling in different directions that we haven't seen in the past. You said it's not your grandfather's coal industry. It's really not even our father's coal industry. It's changed that much in a short period of time.
I do wonder how this could be possible, though, because I've been mining that same coal seam for 250 years. It's still in our region, right? Down in Greene County, Greene and Washington County line?
Still there, yeah. 250 years or so ago, up on a place we called Coal Hill at the time, I think we call it Mount Washington today, is where it all started with the first commercial mining of coal in North America. You fast forward to the year 2011, going into 2012 now, in early 12, it's amazing that we've moved that far south to Greene County, but the technology that we apply and the know-how that we apply today versus how that industry started, or even, as I said, a generation ago, it's a world of difference. It's some of the biggest examples of innovation you'll find anywhere within the energy industry, let alone the fossil fuel energy industry.
Innovation in what respects, in what aspects of the industry? There's
two sides of that, I think, when you would break it down into two different components. One would be on the production side at the coal mine itself. When you look at longwall mining technology and the automation that goes with it, the efficiencies that go with it, the coal preparation technologies that are applied today to process the coal to get it to spec or standards that the power plants can use, everything that happens on the mining side. It's an amazing facility and operation to see. The way we like to describe it, it's a moving factory. It's a factory that moves. And taking people underground to have them see that technology applied and what it is for a real-world illustration of that is just it's an amazing thing to see the look on people's faces when they actually understand what that industry is about. The second category of technology is on the what I'll call the downstream side, what occurs with the power generation, electricity generation side that utilizes the coal. Clean coal technology is real. Clean coal technology is applied today throughout this region on the power plant infrastructure that we've built and that we've seen. And today, a new coal plant on average is 90% cleaner, 90% lower emissions on things like mercury, sulfur dioxide, NOx, and particulate than the one it replaces. So clean coal technology is not an oxymoron. It's real, and all you have to do is look at the facts to see what applied technology can do on the emission and environmental front.
Are we doing as well on the efficiency of the generation side? I've often heard that, American coal plants, especially the older ones, just aren't up to speed with what we can do with technology today.
It's getting up to speed as time marches on efficiency and heat rate efficiency. What's actually helping that is the price of coal itself. So as demand globally for coal has risen, the price for coal has risen, which means it's a more expensive feedstock into the power generation process. And right now, you look at power generation, I'd say 80+% of the operating costs are the cost of the coal. So as the price of coal has gone up, it's created more of an incentive for those power plant operators to apply more advanced technologies to make them more efficient.
Okay, so you just can't be wasteful and sloppy when your raw materials price keeps going up.
There's a rate of return in getting more efficient. There's no doubt about it.
A lot of that innovation happening right here in our region in terms of pushing the edge?
Historically and currently. You look at the history of this region on power generation with coal-fired power plants. The first commercial scrubber that was demonstrated in the country was in this region. And you look at the power generation infrastructure we have in place here today, it's a very, very high concentration, perhaps the highest concentration of coal-fired power generation anywhere in the United States. And because of that, with the new technology and the opportunities they present, you're seeing case after case of the power generating companies applying new technology to make the existing plants more efficient from, again, both emissions of pollutants as well as the heat rate efficiencies of the plants themselves.
Now you're a fossil fuels guy, but I'll still ask you to make the case for why fossil fuels, coal, natural gas, oil, have to be part of the mix to get us through the next few decades.
Well, you know, you look at the facts, I think they speak for themselves, and we'll look at them within the United States and then globally. Within the United States, coal and natural gas are basically 70 to 75% of the power generation mix in this country. You look at wind, solar, quote-unquote renewables, you add them all up, they're 3%, and that's with subsidies. Okay, so even with the support that they get, it's 3% of the mix. You could double or triple that in the coming decades. Coal and natural gas will continue to keep the lights on from Capitol Hill to Wall Street to California. That's just the facts within this country. When you look at it globally, it's even more compelling. Over the next 15 to 20 years, that's basically projected for a 50 to 55% increase in global energy demand the world over. A lot of that are the developing countries of China, Brazil, etc. And right now, we have somewhere around 3 billion people, give or take, on planet Earth that have zero access to electricity. And life for them, you know, if you want to describe it in adjectives, would be brutal, short, and harsh. So their drive to get access to reliable and affordable electricity is going to reduce infant mortality, it's going to extend life expectancy, and they're going to want that electricity sooner rather than later. Only coal and natural gas can be what I would call major drivers to make that happen now instead of down the road.
So when you look ahead, especially on the coal side, do you see more and more of our coal resources from this region headed overseas?
We're seeing that today as we speak. It really has become a global commodity. A great example of that within CONSOL Energy in this region. If you look at a mine that we have planned to be up and running, a new longwall coal mine in Greene County in early 2014, the production from that new coal mine will basically go to serve 3 market segments. One will be the power plants within this region and throughout the southeast and northeast United States, where it traditionally has gone for decades. Another market it's going to serve is for power plants to produce electricity in Europe, because the Europeans right now have some obvious concerns with nuclear, and they also have some concerns with natural gas, specifically natural gas that comes from Russia, because of Russia's ability to use that as a political lever. The third market segment that it will serve is for metallurgical coal to make coke for steelmaking operations in places like China, Brazil, and throughout the Pacific Rim. So what you're seeing is a very interesting balance of trade. You're seeing coal that is being produced by a coal miner in Greene County that's being railed to our port at Baltimore and loaded onto a ship to go to China. It's being unloaded in China, will be used to make coke in the coking operation. That coke will be used to make steel, which will be used to manufacture something like a washing machine. And that washing machine is going to be shipped back to a retailer in Southwest PA in Waynesburg. And the following week, that coal miner is going to go into that retailer and buy that appliance. Now, I'm not necessarily happy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. As a Pittsburgh guy, you know, as a regional guy, you know, should we be a little concerned that we're not making the washing machine here?
A major concern that we're not manufacturing things here. That's a whole different issue. But what I can tell you is 2 things that are positive in that illustration. One is that we are doing something to positively affect the balance of trade, i.e. the export of the coal and the natural resource. So that's helping our balance of trade. The second positive news there is a longer term story, which is with the success and growth of the natural gas and coal industries within this region, that is going to draw back major manufacturing efforts, facilities, and infrastructure like we used to have, whether it's the chemicals industry, the power generation industry, the steel industry, etc. So when you look at the U.S. Steels of the world and the PPGs and the Alcoas and the DuPonts and Dows, all of those wonderful entities, a secure, stable source of energy in this region in the form of coal or other fossil fuels means follow-on industries and jobs to come.
And that's the way it all began 250 years ago. Nick DeIuliss from CONSOL Energy. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. And when we return, the technological revolution that's producing energy from coal cleaner and more efficiently. Stay with us.